You guys, as I mentioned in the disclaimer, I do have noodle arms. Let me show you.
Oh, whoa, this is gonna get demonetized. With that being said, are there any changes I would make if this was my personal bike?
Do you like this Ripmo? Do you want to save thousands of dollars? Do you want to get aggressive? AF?
Whoa.
Introducing the all-new, it's not this one.
That's my bike.
Introducing the all-new Ibis Ripmo AF.
What's going on, you guys? Mo Awesome from Awesome MTB. You guys, first off, before we get into anything, give a quick round of applause for that award-winning performance from Hannah, who thinks professional actress is something you guys see in our future. Hit that like button if you guys want to see more acting. She's saying no, but I think you guys do. So if we get 1,000 likes on this video, maybe we'll do a full video of just her acting. Now, the reason we are all here today is because we have huge news from Ibis Cycles, a $3,000 Ripmo AF. Obviously, there's two more letters that we are going to talk about, but $3,000, which means Ibis has made an aluminum bike. I'm so stoked. I knew about this thing for a while, and when they first told me about it, I couldn't wait to share it for you guys because it allows more people to enjoy the performance in the Ripmo that I'm currently riding. And if I'm being quite frank, I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards this one, and that's because those two letters that we are going to talk about, the AF, and that's what makes this bike just a tad different geo-wise than my other Ripmo. Now, for the differences. This Ripmo AF is basically a degree slacker than my current Ripmo, something that I'm really pumped on because, I don't know, I love 29-inch wheels, I love slack bikes. To be able to combine them is something that I am really stoked on. And so for the rear shock, they also made it a little bit more progressive. So you can run a coil shock on this thing, which I am super pumped on. I actually have a coil shock coming from DVO. It's DVO's new coil offering. Other differences between this and my Ripmo? Not much. The chain stays the same, the reach almost the same, about 2 millimeters because the head angle did get a little bit slacker. Overall though, I feel like that is something that I'm very pumped on because I can make comparisons between the two platforms and make that recommendation to you guys, the viewers, at which one feels like what. So let's get into things. $3,000 for this bike, $7,000 for my current Ripmo, I would say built up. And that's a pretty mind-blowing cost difference. Obviously, there are a few differences. I'm gonna talk about them, but let me show you guys what we have here. Let's start off with the frame. The frame is aluminum, which to a lot of people is gonna be a surprise for Ibis Cycles. I don't think a lot of people thought they were gonna go in this direction in their next bike. I am really pumped to see it because cost-effective price points I feel like is something the market really needs. Ibis did a great job with the DV9 reaching a lot of different riders out there, and they're doing it again with the Ripmo AF. And really pumped to see aluminum by Ibis Cycles, and maybe we'll see a few more frames in the future in different models. Who knows? Time will tell. But for this specific one, the Ripmo AF comes with DVO suspension front and rear. You have a DVO diamond up front, and you have the topaz in the rear. Now, this is my favorite part. $3,000 mountain bike. You guys are probably thinking, well, there's going to be a couple of places where on the suspension they're going to maybe sacrifice a couple of things. It won't be like the top of the line version of the DVO. Not at all. And that's the thing that blew my mind. This is literally top of the line DVO suspension, what I am currently running on my current carbon Ripmo. And that's something that I was really pumped on because I feel like suspension really does make or break a bike. And when you get to those more cost-effective options, some other suspension manufacturers, they do have to make a little bit of sacrifices. You lose a couple of features, but you still get all of the tunability aspects of the DVO suspension and essentially in the same package. So really pumped to see that. And for the drivetrain, you are looking at a 1x12 drivetrain, which I don't know, I'm just getting more and more happy of this bike because it really is checking off all of the boxes. This is the SRAM NX, so it's SRAM's more cost-effective 12-speed option. It will be slightly heavier than the other offerings out there. However, you still get that big 50-tooth climbing gear on there. I will note this bike did come with a 32-tooth front chainring. I probably would change that down to a 30, just something to consider if you are looking into purchasing this bike. So for brakes, we do have the SRAM Guide T-brakes. They are SRAM's more entry-level offering of that Guide series. It does come spec'd with a 200 rotor up front and a 180 in the rear. So this bike essentially is meant to party. For wheels, these are basically Ibis's new 935 S rims, but in the aluminum version. We've been running the new 935 S series wheels on our other Ripmos, but we've been running those in carbon fiber. Blown away at how easy it was to set those things up tubeless, and that is the exact same case on the aluminum version. It comes with Ibis's standard hub. I have put that hub through the ringer, like insane conditions, and it has held up bulletproof. There isn't necessarily the most points of engagement, however, it does stand to the test of durability. And for a lot of riders out there, that's what you want. The dropper post is KS more entry-level offering of the Lev, and probably something that I would swap out, and that's what we are going to get into in this part of the video, which is basically this $3,000 Ripmo versus my $7,000 Ripmo. So far from my testing, and we will go for a lap right now, this bike definitely has that straight charging feeling from the front end with that degree slacker from that head angle, whereas my bike does feel like you can pick your lines just a tad easier. They both rip, they're both Ripmos, but this Ripmo AF, and you guys can finish the sentence. I can't say those words on here because this is a family channel. We'll get demonetized. We don't want that happening because then Hannah will end up on the streets and that. Now, another difference is this thing is aluminum, so you do have a slight weight penalty, as well as the build. So on my current bike, I have carbon wheels. I have turbine cranks, which are a little bit lighter than these NX cranks, as well as a GX cassette, which is a little bit lighter than this NX cassette on here as well, and just a few parts here and there that are a tad lighter. So we're gonna weigh this thing. Unfortunately, we don't have a scale. We don't. If anyone has a scale out there, feel free to send them, but we have a Hannah. So here is the Hannah weight test. And we have the Hannah weight test.
Yes, one thing to mention is I'm very weak in my upper body. Don't know what to do about that. Maybe I should start hitting the gym. But just to let you guys know, they both might be really heavy for these weak arms of mine. They're basically noodle arms.
All right, bike one. Okay. Bike number two.
Okay. They feel the same. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
You guys, as I mentioned in the disclaimer, I do have noodle arms. Let me show you.
Oh, whoa, this is gonna get demonetized.
Look at these bad boys.
Oh, whoa.
There's nothing to them, okay? So, I think there's like a 3 pound difference. Is that
3 pound?
accurate?
I would say you got really close with the 3 pound.
Both, even though they are not super heavy bikes, both feel heavy for me because, like I said,
noodle arms.
Noodle arms.
So as you guys saw by that very scientific weight measurement, this one is a little bit heavier than my Ripmo. I would say her guess of 3 pounds is pretty close to what I think it actually is. So a few spots where that weight difference is, like I said, our wheel sets. We have carbon wheels laced up to Industry 9 Hydra hubs with Industry 9 aluminum spokes. So that's a very light wheel set. Also very durable. This is an aluminum wheel set from Ibis. A little on the heavier side, but at the same time, you still get the durability there. So that is something to consider. You have the aluminum handlebars, the NX cassette and NX derailleur, and the NX cranks as well, as opposed to the turbine cranks with the GX cassette and the GX rear derailleur. So a few spots where that's probably gonna add a little bit of weight as well. And you have the frames, aluminum versus carbon, so that's probably a pound in all itself. Now here's a question that a lot of you guys are probably gonna have is $3,000, is it a bike that you can basically take out of the box, hit the trails and go rip? The answer is yes. We're gonna go ride it right now. With that being said, are there any changes I would make if this was my personal bike? Number one is the handlebars. So it did come with the Ibis straight bars on here, and although it is a really good option, they're nice, they're wide, I probably would go with the Race Face 35 millimeter. I like the 6C bars, those are carbon. You can go aluminum as well. I do think that the bars need to go higher for me. I'm 6'2", even on this XL frame. I do feel like I want the front end to come up just a tad more to match my saddle height. That's a personal preference thing. As far as the dropper post, I have long legs. I really like dropper posts in the 175 to 200 mil range. I go with P&W components. You guys can go with whatever you guys choose. Another thing is this dropper post lever on the KS. Not the biggest fan of it, but that's an easy change. A lot of companies make really nice shifter dropper post levers. I like the P&W loam lever. I'll leave a link in the description to everything I talk about today, but there's a lot of options out there. So just another change I would probably make there. Now, as far as any other changes, that's pretty much it. That's essentially all I would do to make this bike mine, and I would keep it as my more aggressive version of my long travel 29er. When Ibis first talked to me about this bike, I was like, well, what are you guys gonna do with your current Ripmo? They're like, no, they're gonna feel different. And you do feel that with the suspension tune and the degree slacker in the head angle. This is essentially a bike that you can just over beef and just freaking ride down any trail out there. Really does feel like it has that more aggressive nature in it. And the Ripmo is a bike that you get a little bit more preciseness from the front end. You can build it up a little bit lighter as well. And it's essentially your more kind of mid-travel 29er, where this would be the dedicated Enduro DH rig. Or you can even make this a little bit lighter with a few upgrades and replace that other Ripmo. Whatever it is, Ibis has you covered. I'm really pumped on this thing. So regardless of what you guys do, whether you go with the carbon Ripmo or the Ripmo AF in aluminum, I think it is an amazing time to be a mountain biker. $3,000 for a bike that is going to absolutely shred the trails. So many options in their lineup. It's an amazing time. The dirt is great. Everything is just, it's just a really nice day. So how about you and me, we go hit the trails and yeah, let's see what this bike is made of. The new aluminum Ripmo. Ooh, I always hit this tree, but not today, tree. I got the better of you. So far, that's so stable.